Me versus me has been wearing me out, and it's been wearing me out in a lot of realms. One of them is measuring my productivity. I've been getting dealt with, if I can just be transparent, about my time management. I've been getting dealt with about my investments, and I've been getting dealt with about how soon I agree with what God says. It's been working on me in a lot of ways. How many of you can agree? This thing is, 2 weeks in? And it's been messing me up. But what I feel like God is trying to, through these teachings, entrust us with more responsibility. Now, when you hear the term responsibility, you automatically think of something more to do. But I also want you to think of it in terms of something more to handle. A change in career is going to impact your responsibility. A change in marital status is going to impact your responsibilities. Even a change of employment, a change of innovation, it's all going to give you different levels of responsibility. And what I know about the Lord is right before he changes your life, he checks you in areas that you've been irresponsible in. Things that you've not paid dutiful attention to, or that you've not been prudent about paying attention to. And sometimes he uses very unusual ways to do it, okay? So I have a teach-preach for you today. We'll probably scream towards the end, but I want to give you these principles. As a student of the Apostle Paul, one of the things that I've noticed is he uses certain words repetitiously. Paul was a master writer, and his linguistic capacity was grabbed by the hand of God to be able to express the revolutionary concept of the grace of God. It was through the Apostle Paul's intellect that the Spirit of God was able to show us what it meant to be the bride of Christ, etc., etc. The Spirit of God could not have done that through an ignorant man. He had to be extraordinarily intelligent to give language and to give speech to all of the things that God wanted to convey. In so much as in the book of Romans, which I'm getting there, it's coming out of me, I'm trying not to preach it, but in the book of Romans, one of the words that's mentioned repetitively is persuaded. Paul always wrote about the power of persuasion. My personal favorite word use of persuasion and persuaded is when he talks about not being separated from the love of God. For I am persuaded that neither life nor death, nor any other reason, nor depth, nor height, nor principalities, nor powers, nothing will be able to separate us from the love of God. But I want you to think about how much was active in this life to prevent him from persuasion. I mean, from the time he accepted Jesus as his Lord down to his commissioning, he was hit with stuff back to back to back to back that would make him be indecisive. Being a company or accompany with or partner with the other apostles, it shows me that persuasion and living persuaded had to be a consistent theme of Jesus' teaching. He always taught them to protect their persuasion. Matthew 24, when he's dealing with the end of the age, he's dealing with them about things that can persuade and how to live persuaded. I want you to imagine in your own life how much God goes through to convince you. I want you to imagine all of the things that happen around you just for the simple point of getting you to be persuaded. Now, the reason why this is important is because if there is a stagnant area in your life, or even in your idea or in something you want to do, it's not just stagnation always because you are a hesitator or a procrastinator. It might be that it's stagnant because you're not persuaded. God, through this series, is trying to get you to a place of full persuasion, resolve, acceptance about what he's doing, where he's taking you. So in that backdrop, I have to deal with something in your life like it's me and you in Starbucks and you getting a rebuke. It's James chapter 1. I'm going to just read it before I get to my point. The objective is to get you to a point of persuasion, who you are, where you're going, what God wants, how you're going to get there, and what he's going to do. Even if you can't figure out the detail, you can still be persuaded. in the wisdom of God, he never tells you how he's going to do what he's going to do. Because then you start to meddle, is what the old folks say, and put your hand in stuff that's not your business. I was looking at Evangelist Nate in worship, and one of the things that stood out to me, if I can just preach his life, is one of the things I know is going to get the power of God through him is that he refuses to take the glory. And if God had more people that could stand around favor and power and not take glory for it, then they would have a lot more that could flow through their lives. This, what I'm about to preach and teach to you about, is an issue that probably 90% of you deal with, and we're going to open it up. James, a servant of God and the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. So James is saying, this is not a statement for the people I'm assigned to alone. He's saying that this is an issue, or these are issues that are going to impact all the tribes. You know, certain tribes have certain strengths, certain weaknesses. He opens up this chapter with saying, this is applicable to all y'all. Number 2, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Pay attention. Knowing this, that the trying of your faith has to be tried. Worketh what? The worst thing to be, I'm telling you now, in all things purpose is impatient. I made the mistake of saying that a little bit too much. I ain't got that much patience. I'm not patient. And God said, okay, let's deal with this. And forced me to face several things that would make me be patient. That is very important. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. I'm not at my point. Come on. If any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men what? Liberally, and upbraideth not, and it will be given him. Look at verse 6. But let him ask. I'm going to make a connection here that you've never made. Ask in what? Faith. Ask in faith. If you ask in fear, there are grave consequences to trying to believe God and maintain your personal fears. You listen to what I'm saying? I'm going to show you why many of you struggle with fear with this next statement. Let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. This verse 7 is scary to me. Okay? All right, wake up, because it's going to get you. Let not that man think he will get anything from the Lord. Did you hear what I just read to you? Let not that man think he will receive anything from the Lord. Here is what you just learned. The more double-minded you are, since you don't want to say amen, that's what I'm dealing with, the less likely it is that God's going to answer anything concerning you. Listen, your stability is an issue of God to determine what he can give you. If God knows you are unstable and like it that way, he just does not give you stuff. That's how that works out. Instability is a communication to God that you can't handle what you want. Let not that man think he will receive anything from the Lord. Why? Because a double-minded man is unstable in all. Grab your neighbor's hand, look at him in the face, and say, neighbor, oh neighbor, make up your mind. Are you double-minded? Do you have certain days when you want stuff and then you wake up and don't want it? Do you have days when you're like, just to be close to you? Then wake up, wobble, wobble, shake it, shake it. Do you have days when you love you? I love who I am and how old I am and what I do. And then other days when you're like, I'm not feeling me. I don't think you realize how much double-mindedness is behind your lack. God never favors the unstable. God would much rather you get it wrong than be unstable. Even if you make a mistake, his mercy will instruct you through the mistake. But if you won't decide at all, there's no way for help to be impacted. So many people live in indecision because of fear of getting it wrong. I don't want to do marriage wrong. I don't want to do career wrong. I don't want to choose the wrong stuff, so I'm just not going to choose. But not choosing is the state of double-mindedness. So it's not that I've just not made a decision. It's that I'm living in between two decisions. If I'm taking this a bit deeper, Michael, wherever there is double-mindedness, you ready? Inhale. There is idolatry. I can talk to each of you about an area in your life that you're undecided about and prove it's because of your worship of something. You don't believe me? Let's go to 1 Kings 18. The prophet Elijah walks up to the entire nation, and he don't rebuke them for stripping. He don't rebuke them for blunts and marijuana. He don't rebuke them for orgies and infidelity. He rebukes them for having two opinions. If I were Elijah and I was about to deal with Jezebel, she's a witch, she's full of control and manipulation, I would get up there and say, Israel, how long are you going to listen to this stupid woman? That's what I would have said. Elijah got up there and said, how long will you, who? You know what that means? Stop. How long will you stop in between two opinions? So even your indecision, if you're like, I'm not going to do anything, you have halted in between two opinions. Why was the nation in double-mindedness? Baal. There was an idol connected to their indecision. How many of you are disobeying God with your plan B? One of the words, people who know me most, one of the words that people say I use all the time, and I don't even realize that I use it, is vacillate. I say that a lot. And I say that a lot because by the time I've made a strong decision, I'm confident in it, even if it takes me a while to get there. So I'll start processing something several months before it needs to be done, just to make sure I'm in the right space. But there are decisions that need thorough thought, and there are other decisions that just need commitment. And whatever the ramification is afterwards, you just believe God to repair it, or you believe God to use it somehow to glorify him. But the worst neighborhood that you can live in is not Inglewood, it's indecision. I tell this story very often because it matters to me. My wife and I, to the glory of God, and I'm working on a theory for a writing called grace-based marriage. What I realize is probably years 1 through 5, we had a fear-based marriage. We loved around fears, talked to fears, needed from fear. When we shift into giving each other grace, something happened. I can't even remember the last argument we've had. We have a grace-based marriage. I give grace, she gives grace, we need grace. We were doing an interview, and somebody asked her, what was the worst time in your marriage? I just knew in my, what is this, a shondo? In my sanctified, I miss Yvonne Ruff. I knew down here that she was going to say, 2009. It had to be 2009. His father was murdered September the 4th, 2009, and the next year, September the 4th, his grandfather died. He's the only Matthew left. There were 3 of us, year after year. On the same day, they both died. I knew she was going to say it was then. This woman tells them, oh, no, it wasn't then. It was watching him trying to make peace with his calling. A demon jumped in my fist and said, Diddy Kong her dead on top of her head. If you hit her in her face, she's going to have a bruise and they're going to arrest you. Hit her on top of her head where there's no proof. And the reason that was so offensive, Ricky, was because I have preached my entire adult life. All I know is the word of God. I came out, this thing has been going since 1999. I don't know anything else but this. But so for her to insult my intelligence by telling me that I was doing something that I had not made peace with, it forced me into some real hard truth about how I felt about my call. And I was in it and didn't have the right heart about it. John, this year will be nation number 19 for me. I've been around the world and counting. I was under tents in Africa, still in resistance with why I had to do it, when I had to do it. Bitter, just mad, feeling left out. Why I ain't get to be like y'all and disobey? I wanted to go out with my frat brothers and hang from chandeliers and get all that out my system. And you realize what her conversation did. It made me look at what I could be doing if I would reconcile with it and stop seeing my purpose as a punishment. Stop seeing my level as a limitation. The area in your life you're probably most double-minded about is your call. You walk around for years knowing that the hand of God is on you to do something, and he's calling you to be something. And some days you like it, some days you don't. You like it when you see how it blesses people. You hate it when it tells you what you can't do. You want the fruit of your calling and not the standard of it. And you're holding back your productivity by not making peace with it. I want to knock her smooth out. Because I was insulted, Anthony. I'm like, you heathen, you ain't even come up in holiness. I've been saved all my life. And here you come with this eyebrow piercing and these tattoos telling me I ain't made peace with my call. And it was true. I just couldn't see beyond the activity where I really was trying to get my psychological self and emotional self to agree with what I was doing. It is possible to give God empty service. It's possible for people to get healed, delivered, set free, inspired through you doing something you hate you got to do. The dangerous thing about indecision is that it sentences you to a place called regret. That's the enemy's goal, John, is to make you die with regret. He wants to push you to the place where you flirt with your gift and flirt with your assignment and do just enough of it to bring you some fulfillment. But then he wants you to go to sleep hearing the cries of people who can't decide because you won't sing them into decision. Part of what the priest does is help the people choose who they can't see. God wants decisions out of people. He don't want perfection. He don't want you to be without error. He wants you to decide that this is the only life for me. This is the only path for me, and I'm not going to sell out. You know how you get released from regret? You decide. You decide. Double-mindedness is also directly related, Prophet Darius, to torment. It's directly related to a tormenting spirit. When you live your life and everything's an option or everything appeals to you, It's the devil's way to your psychological process. Think about men who can't commit to women. And think about how fun it is, but how robbed emotionally that person is. Because not only are they pimping, listen, they're not allowing themselves to grow in love. So think about the impact that has on a man who's training his heart and his parts to want everything available. At some point, he's going to have a breakdown and he's going to realize his arrested development. One of the ways men develop is by loving the same thing a long time. If you can't love something long, there's a level in you that will not mature. So yes, it's lust and I'm a playboy and all that stuff, but at the core of it, what the devil is trying to do is have you be 50, but living and thinking and loving like you're 11. You show me a mature pimp. There's a reason you got them women serving you and cooking for you and cleaning for you and working for you. You're not a pimp, you're a boy. It's indecision. The mature thing to do before you want to get married is to not involve yourself, period. Until you got the emotional capacity to love long, don't love at all. The Bible warns us about waking up love before it's time. Let that thing stay asleep until you know you can fully commit. How many of you men and women keep people in your pocket just in case? Oh, you don't want to say, man. You just got to go to right back here. But it really is the manifestation of indecision. And the real truth is some decisions hurt. You're not going to want to decide everything you're going to have to decide. And your emotions very often are going to conflict with the fact that you have to make decisions. You're going to want to do things and know things. One of the things that's very important for women of God is to learn how to make their mind and heart move at the same time. Sometimes women allow their heart to move quicker than their head. And they end up loving things by overlooking the very obvious snares that are active in a relationship. Very seldom can you fool a woman. Very seldom. But when a woman is willfully fooled, it's because they chose to ignore what was obvious by trying to get their heart to have something that their head was saying no to. See, love is a business decision. You don't want to help me. They don't believe that. I said love is a business decision. Appreciate all of this. You make me feel. You have a problem. You need to be allowing your psychological intelligence to choose who's about to run your life. Like a natural woman. Woman. I'm almost done. Your career is only as strong as your decidedness. Think about how you can get promoted doing something you are not passionate about. Mathematically, look at it. If I'm in a field, if I'm in a project, or if I'm on a team that I barely want to be on, how is it possible to excel? The truth is, it's not. You ought not commit to nothing that you're indifferent about. Yeah. If your heart ain't in it, you cannot prosper in it. You can see some success, but you will not be satisfied. I have seen situations that I was successful in and lacked satisfaction. And what makes success success is that you have contentment with it. Don't get successful at the wrong thing. Indecision is a sure way to make sure you'll be starting over for the rest of your life. If you don't make up your mind you don't attract favor. If you don't make up your mind, critical relationships don't feel safe. Relationships, the way they work is people can sense indecision and instability. They can know it. Are we friends or not? Why? I can't understand why you would want to be friends with people and why you would want to be in relationships with people that have to hide you from their other friends. If I've got to do this to make sure these friends don't know about these friends, how can you bear the fruit of friendship? You can't. You're not some second-class bad whore. Now, some of you need to receive that as a rebuke because you're okay with letting people use you. You got a social relationship where we can go and get hot wings and stuff together, but I'm not going to entrust you with the weightier things of my life and my decision making. And the real truth is I want you here for safety. But I don't necessarily want to commit to it. It's all indecision. How many things you gonna try? First of all, ain't nobody in here getting younger. Look at your neighbor and say, you neither. You are literally, under the sound of my voice, getting older. You are older now than what you was when 1030 first started. Or, the Bible says, though the outer man perisheth day by day or gets older, the inward man is being renewed day by day. You're getting old. So part of the sobriety about that is if you don't want to look up and be 70 and 80 and have two people at your funeral, make some decisions now. The greatest insult to any life is an empty funeral. When I go to funerals, even for nice people, and they be like 12 people, I'm like, what a waste of life. That means you touch nobody outside of your immediate family. That means that people are not going to even notice that you're gone. Once you leave, we ought to feel something. We ought to be like, whoa, Chicago will not be the same. The kingdom will not be the same. If you don't decide now, you're not going to really see your impact. For this cause, the grave is the wealthiest place on earth. Because people take their talents there, their gifts, their all of the, and somebody buried the cure to cancer. Because indecision. Now, there are things that you're going to have to decide first and then get better at it. You have to let your feelings catch up. But you need to be able to make decisions before people agree. You need to be able to make internal decisions and then live that stuff out. I'll close with this, I guess, because y'all are acting whooped. Rakina, I love deliverance. I like to bust the devil's head to the white meat. I preach and teach that when the grease is hot enough, the chicken will fry. I believe in rolling on the floor, breaking curses, up and out. I can't tell you how many people I've rolled with, coughed with, put oil on, put buckets in front of, got carpet burns for, smothered them in oil, etc., that I can't get free. Not because the devil don't leave, but because they get the devil out and don't make decisions. That's about right with them claps. They like. The next phase of your deliverance is not, oh, ha, ha! That's good. That gets the process started. You know when you're really in the throngs of it? When them demons are no longer impacting your decisions. If you want to move your deliverance process, to the next level. Once the demon is gone, you got to confront double-mindedness. Or what if I'm just fooling myself? Or what if I'm just saying this? No, God knows that if this is a decision for him, you're not going to be able to do it without him. There is a need for you to make decisions that you don't think you can do. There is a need for you to do it feeling like or decide it with the knowledge of, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. Because the whole point is to make a decision until it attracts the strength of God and attracts the grace of God. It's not about feeling like I can do this. It's about deciding it. And if you decide it, what you've done is you've erected an altar and you've erected something that God can blow on because he knows you need him to do this. You're robbing yourself of the strength that you need by remaining double-minded. Decisions and decidedness is the door to the strength of God. If you are undecided, you don't need supernatural intervention. For what? James 1:7 just said, if any man is undecided, don't let him think he's going to get, that's the most ghetto verse I've ever said. Let not that man think he's going to get anything from God. Guys, I ain't doing nothing. I'm going to sit here and talk to you, and you're going to talk to me, and we're going to worship together. That's it. Your destiny is something you have to decide. It's not something that's going to, we teach and preach, come on, minstrel, we teach and preach destiny like it's fate, like it's going to happen no matter what I do. It's not true. And it's not true because that God is not the only one with a purpose for you. Hell also has a full design plan for how they intend to use your life. So what you're deciding is three things. Either you're going to decide you, God, or hell. You have a vision for your life, God has a vision for your life, and hell has a vision for your life. So that's why your destiny is unlocked one decision at a time. I release you from all that pressure. Your heart, your psychological self can't handle all that pressure of getting it right. That's not the vision. That's not the goal. The goal is not to be without flaw. I want you to be okay with your humanity. And I want you to be okay with the fact that there are certain God-appointed mistakes that are needful. I want you to be okay with allowing the Spirit of God to convict you. And I want you to get delivered from self-hatred. It's more than I'm hard on myself. It's a self-despondence. I want you to stop saying, why me? Looking to your shoulder, trying to delegate your destiny to somebody else because you can see them in it faster than you. Do you realize what's missing in the world because you don't want to be you? Or because you won't decide? Spirit of God, I'm asking you that you would begin to disciple everybody under this watch in their emotions. That's where this war is. You know it to be right, but there is a war in your emotions. And God does not want you in the changing currents of your emotions. Father, I pronounce over these people that you're going to give them leadership over their emotions, over their happiness, over their sadness, over everything, the spectrum of their humanity. And I'm asking that you would do such a profound thing in their hearts that making hard decisions get easier. Deliver these people from indecision, from double-mindedness. Your word says that they are unstable in all their ways. And I'm asking that you would give them such a persuasion, such a full convinced nature that you no longer have to pull them into your plan, but they find resolution that your will is what's best, and your will is what's safe, and your will is the only way they can prosper. Man, if you need to, we're going to move forward. I just want you to, I'm going to have the minstrel lift up something prophetically, and I want you to, in whatever conversations, now listen, how many of you will be honest? Have you ever had a conversation with God, or have you ever felt him trying to have a conversation that you wasn't ready to have? Anybody know the voice of the Lord where he's like, hey, and you're like, oh. LJ, I've faked sleep on the Lord several times. And there's something about, I don't even know what the scientific term for this is. If you're a dreamer or you have dreams or something, it's almost like when you not quite wake, not quite that little in-between thing, that I'm super sensitive to everything that God is trying to say. I want you to allow the Lord to deal with you real quick about something he's been trying to deal with you about. I'm going to have Vaughn lift up something. But I want you to let him start the discussion. I want him to address whether for some of you it's going to be your health. I believe the Spirit of God has been convicting very many of you about self-care, how bad you are with not allowing yourself to be taken care of. Some of you it's been your relationship stuff. Some of you it's been your job. For some of you it's been school. God's been leading you to a class or to a certification. Some of you it's a partnership or collaboration. For some of you it's reconciliation. Let me explain how waiting on reconciliation don't work. When you need to be reconciled, you have to do it. And here's the deal. You need to do it quickly, because the longer you wait, the less likely it is you'll do it. Maybe it's reconciliation. Whatever it is, let him deal with you about it. Do you walk around in your mind waiting for the day you get to live somewhere other than where he told you to stay? I want you to unpack your bags in the Spirit and put yourself at home in this season. Oh, come on, just lift that up, Vaughn. I feel the dealings of God. Make your abode. Come on, I want you to get, yes, Lord, I'm here. I'm not mad that I'm not there yet. I'm not bitter that I'm not keeping up with them yet. I'm here. I'm here. Come on, come on, come on. You've been trying to get me to be fully present, and you've been trying to get me to be fully committed to this place in my life. And right now, as an act of my will, I'm done running. I don't want to avoid it. I'm done not deciding it. I'm making a decision right now. I want to be where you have me. I'm not angry about not being where I saw. I'm in love with what you're doing in me. Oh, come on. If you start to meditate on that, it will begin to break yokes off your heart. Come on. I don't want to live the rest of my life in paranoia. I don't want my nervous system to be under the authority and under the influence of panic, and I don't want to have anxiety over the future, and I don't want to have anxiety over how it's going to get done. I just want to trust you. Come on. I just want to trust you. Lord, if my prayer is anything right now, is help me not to miss you. I don't want to miss you. That's my prayer. I don't want to miss you in ministry. Come on, y'all. I don't want to miss you in relationships. I don't want to miss you. If you're doing it, I'm deciding it. If you're saying it, I want it. If you're leading me, I'm full in. Come on, come on. Come up out of that grief. Come up out of that regret. You need to be fully present in what God is doing in you. I don't want to live in my remorses. I don't want to study my inadequacies. I don't want to be a better me because of what was done wrong to me. I want to be what you want me to be. I'm not running from my parents' mistakes. I'm not running from iniquity. I'm not running from being hurt. I'm pursuing the glory of God. I'm pursuing the language of God for my life, for my purpose. I want to number my days, seeing that the time is evil. Help me, come on, help me to manage this moment well. I don't want to waste money pursuing stuff that ain't you. Hey, I don't want to waste relationships pursuing stuff that's not you. I don't want to waste emotional energy being drained about stuff that's not you. But I want to be where you are. 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 And if you expect it out of me, then you're going to enable me to be all that you call me to be. Hallelujah. If you want it out of my life, you're going to be the one that plants me and that establishes me. So circumcise us. Whatever in our life does not bear fruit, circumcise us. We are the vine, the branches, and you are the vine. Begin by your Spirit to cut away every dead thing, every dead limb, every fruitless thing, whatever is not bearing fruit. Deal with it. confessions with willingness. Hey, baptize our confessions with willingness and forgive us for exerting our will against yours in our fear, in our inadequacy. Forgive us for exerting our understanding. And right now, in your presence, we cast down every high thing that exalted itself against you, and we humble us. Come on. We humble ourselves. Come on. We humble ourselves. Some of you in here feel like you got married too soon. Some of you in here feel like you married the wrong person. There is a deliverance happening in your perspective right now. Some of you have such remorse about your journey that you've not gotten the wisdom out of it. But if you will allow him to regulate, come on, make peace with it. Make peace with it. Make peace. I'm here, Lord. I dare you to locate yourself